versus dark skin debate is really pointless.
For one, I think the debate, I just think the whole idea itself is ignorant. I think that the fact that there is a debate over light skin versus dark skin is sad in itself. You know, we're all brothers and sisters, and the simple fact that a dark skin, brown skin person and someone who is of lighter complexion are battling over something that's so trivial is honestly beyond me.
It's been around quite some time now, and whether you're dark skinned, brown skinned, fair skinned, or whatever you consider yourself, until we come together as a race and realize that we do have differences.
The battle of the complexions of the fair skins versus the lighter skins and lighter complexions, and what that means to the various groups, and then also how it's been perceived by the audience at large.
It's an issue within like females, but I feel like it's all about the person, because I feel like if you have the confidence and you're dark skin or light skin, I feel like that alone will kind of stir you from the whole controversy.
Things contributed to the hate within our race, and the issues that plague our race have more to do with advantages, opportunities, who has access to quality education, who has access to jobs, who has access to advancement. And because of the dominant culture in America, very often that translated back in the day that the fairer complexions were more accepted.
I think Professor Walker might be a little proud of me when I explain this. I think the stigma that, one, to go back, the reason why I think lighter skin is looked at as being the beautiful complexion or beautiful people is because light skin or fair skin is associated with white people, and even down to today, from the times that African Americans were enslaved, it was taught that European features were the standard. They set the standard for beauty. So if you're light skinned, it's almost like saying it's like a backhanded compliment. Actually, it's like you're still black, but because you're light skinned, you can kind of get away. It's like you're not pretty, but you're pretty enough because you're light skinned. And I think because with light skinned people, or even this idea, black people in general, they take that and they run with it, and they say, oh, I'm light skinned, so I'm better than a lot of my contemporaries, and that's not true.
When you look, even when I was over in Africa, you'll see billboards that's like, oh yes, use this cream and you'll be lighter. You'll see the light skin, straight hair and color contacts, or that's not how we should be raised.
Like, it's something that has been going on for years, and I feel like it just needs to stop. I feel like we just all need to come together and just, squash it. But
like I said, black is beautiful, baby. So people, who didn't feel comfortable in their own skin, they criticize themselves.
Yes, I have actually. When I first moved to Atlanta, it was an experience in itself. But it was picture day, and I was walking by myself in the room, and all of a sudden these group of girls who have always bothered me, and they had no problem voicing it. Oh, she thinks she pretty because she light skinned. Oh, she thinks she gonna have a better picture than everyone because she light skinned. But the funny thing about that is that those girls were only 2 shades darker than me. It was so weird. Like, looking back now, it was so weird. There wasn't really much of a difference between our skin complexions.
And more often growing up, I experienced more prejudice from my own culture than I did from anything from an outside culture or an outside force.
It's not a new issue. It's always been an issue. I think it's an issue that needs to be done away with. because at the end of the day, we are fulfilling what white people, not trying, but what they are continuing to do down to this day. They are keeping us segregated. In order to control us, they have put in place many different techniques to make us hate ourselves and to want to be like them. In essence, that's what's, now a lot of black people today will say, no, that's not true. I love myself. Well, why are you giving your light skin or even your dark skin brother and sister such a hard time because of how they look?
The dominant culture to me is a racist culture because they can control economics, livelihood, education, infrastructure, politics, banking. They understand microeconomics and macroeconomics. But I think at a deeper root, if you understand history, if you understand how African Americans got into this state, into this condition, how the world got into this state, into this condition, I feel that in many instances it's because a lot of cultures, especially the dominant culture, are in denial of their own origins. How can all human life trace its point of beginning, its point of origin back to Africa, and yet there is always some ongoing debate about who is the oldest being or who is the oldest culture on the planet, when all the evidence is right there in everything that we study in our history and our science and our social science and our politics. It's all in our books that shows us that the African man is the original man. And yet when you look at this history of hate and the history of racism and prejudice, not just in North America but throughout the world, it always seems to boil back down to people trying to deny or refashion and reinvent the history of human civilization. For African Americans, my hope is that we begin to embrace our history, our legacy, how we came to be into existence, so that we can appreciate truly how great we are.